Hello and welcome back to more of the other side of the hill from NAC Wargames. This is the 1942 scenario. And we are in the spring of 1943 at this point, and we will start with the bombing of Germany. Now, I lost a little bit of air naval control over Germany last turn, so what that means is that I have to move one of these one box to the left. And so we're going to do that with strategic warfare, since that's kind of over here on the max anyway. It's not really going to harm us. We had a pretty good strategic warfare segment last turn, and I definitely need the Wehrmacht and Luftwaffe replacements. So that is the bombing of Germany. So now we will actually go on and do German replacements. So in terms of Wehrmacht replacements. So one thing is I'm starting to gear up for the potential invasion of Italy. I think that is likely to come, and so I'm thinking about gearing up for that amongst other things. So to start with, oh dear, you know what? I'm just realizing I think I made a mistake on my first turn. I should only have been able to have 3 armies in that area. And I'm realizing I think on that first offensive, I was larding this up with 4 armies. So that was an unfortunate mistake that I'm just now spotting. And in fact, this one right here is already over stacking limits. So I'm going to go ahead and move that guy back to there. So with that adjusted, I'm going to, so I can place 3 Wehrmacht replacements. I'm going to place one here. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in both of these locations, I am going to get a regular army instead of a replacement army, and then I am going to move a reduced army, not a replacement army, oh, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. On the off chance that I get Italy's reinforcement this turn, I'm not going to do that. So let's see, I'll place another one here. Would I rather do that or maybe turn that into a Panzer army? Let's see. I'm going to be fighting in rough terrain, river, so none of those is going to benefit necessarily from tons of panzers. So we're gonna do that. Okay, so we've placed our 3 Wehrmacht replacements. Now in terms of Luftwaffe replacements, I want to push that back up to 1. I'm going to push this up 1, and I'm going to push this up 1 as well. So I've moved all of those. I'm not as bugged about this because I am expecting to be kicked out of North Africa this turn. So this seems like a bad investment at this point. So that is replacements. So now we do satellite replacements. So I get to roll a die and see if maybe this Italian replacement will finally join the game. It will not. Hopefully they won't invade this turn and I won't regret not putting a replacement there. I don't think I'll do that next turn. Okay, so now we're on to the production table, and we still have 14 to play with. And I've kind of looked over here, and I know that I need 3 for my production directives. And I think that this will all continue to work. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I actually can spend 1 more if I want to. So we'll go ahead and bump that up to 3. We'll go with that as my directives situation. So now for production directives. So the reason I wanted 3 for production directives is I'm going to play this Atlantic Wall card. So I can place 1 reduced army is moved from the force pool to each of the following areas: Norway, Belgium, Holland, and Northern France. So I know that they're not going to land here, or at least I think they're not going to land here until next turn, 1944. I think the odds are kind of against it. But I'm going to protect against that nonetheless. Now, I've got 2 German armies in both of these locations. So what that means is I now have vacancies. So I'm going to have to fill these vacancies with army group heads when the time comes, because those now have 2 German armies in them. Political directive. So political directive, I only have 1 to spend, so we're going to do our standard thing and bribe the generals to drive the unrest even lower. And then in terms of military directive, I could do some things, but I don't really want to be chewing up my own forces here or here. So I'm going to just choose not to have a military directive this turn. I don't think that benefits me too much at all. All right. So that is that, and that's military directive. So now we are into the operations, and we start with strategic warfare. So let us see. The Allies in 1943 are rolling 3 dice. There was, I remember. So I made a mistake here last turn. I forgot to take an extra die because of this path. So I wanted to actually roll this now and make up for that. So it was an air hit. So actually this army would have been eliminated. So that army is actually out of the game. I put that die there to remind me of that. I forgot to take that +1 die. And I wanted to make up for that there. So I'm going to check real quickly. I don't know if what that means now is that they automatically take complete control of that area or not. So let me just look that up now that it's got no forces left. Okay, so it looks like this disc is not removed. It is removed from German Festung sectors, which I think are like maybe these ones. I can't. I'll find that when it matters. But so I think what's going to happen is the Allies are just going to kind of attack this area with the Axis rolling no dice until they eventually sort of overrun Libya. So. Post facto disaster in Libya. All right. So that is, sorry. So I've done, no, so now I'm doing strategic warfare. Sorry. So I'm rolling 3 dice for the Allies, which I've pulled over here, and I'm rolling 3 dice for the Germans, and 1 of them will be a gray die. So we'll move those over there, grab a gray die, and we're rolling all these guys. So we have 2 strategic events to resolve. And then let's see what we're going to end up with. The Allies get 2 hits and the Germans, I think, get 1 hit. So we're going to suffer some losses. But first things first, let's resolve 2 strategic events here. So the first strategic event is the 8th U.S. Air Force. Air naval control value in the Germany box, -1. Bummer. And that one just stays in the discard pile. So then we get this one, unconditional surrender, fanaticism value +1. I think it's already at its maximum, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. So that one plays out there. So that, okay. Those have both, so that's my 2 events. So now the Allies have beaten me by 1. The head of production distributor air naval tracks in the Germany box as he wishes. Okay, so we are going to take that loss in the strategic warfare box, not in the Germany air naval control box. All right. So that is strategic warfare. Now movement. So I suppose there's a possibility that the Allies could invade Greece. So I should probably leave that army there so as not to leave that completely denuded. I don't think I'm going to move anything here. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to shuttle a couple of air naval factors around. I think I got enough guys here, so I'm going to move one air naval factor from there back to Germany to try to... Actually, I don't think I am going to do that now that I think about that, because I'll lose one replacement, but I've got extras on the strategic warfare. Like I'm kind of... I've got 3. I could take that down to 2. I only need to replace 1. So I think I'll leave that where it is, in fact. All right, so that's movement. Now we go to command. And I think I do, yeah, I have a couple of generals who are being questioned. So we're going to start with that. So list is being questioned. So on a 3 or higher, he is removed from the game. So basically under a 3 and he stays in the game. I actually kind of wanted him to be removed. He's kind of useless over there, or at least that was my impression. Now we've got Modal, who I really don't want to be removed, but the good news for him is he is only removed on the roll of a 6. Of course, that's what happened to Rommel, so. Okay, so Modal remains in the game. So now I have 2 vacancies to deal with. I've got this vacancy up in Narvik, up in Norway, and this vacancy in northern France to deal with. Actually, oh, wait a minute, sorry. Kesselring is being questioned also. So Kesselring is fine as well. He survives that. One thing I want to look at is whether or not I can move Kesselring from there. Just because I'm not going to be fighting. Well, actually, I am going to be fighting in the south for a while there, so I don't actually want to move him. Okay, so I'm going to go find generals to put in command of these 2 army groups, and I'll be right back. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't a huge choice. It's basically between Erich von Manstein and Edvald von Kleist. I have to choose the generals with the highest seniority. So let's figure out who's going to go where. First, let's go find their little tokens. So we've got von Kleist is here. Go there. And Manstein is going to be in this faction. Von Manstein. All right. So let's just take a quick peek. Add 1 hit to the Axis combat roll for every die that is rolled. Okay. So the problem is Erich von Manstein is only useful in combat on the Eastern Front. So that's not particularly great. So what I'm going to look for real quick is I'm going to find out if I've got a general here that maybe I can use. I can move them over to here. And then I can put von Manstein in control over here. Give me 1 second. So I can pull an in-command general if their seniority is higher. So I am actually going to pull List out. And I'm going to put List in control up here in Norway. So he's now going to be the AG head in Norway. And then we will send von Manstein to take control of this recently vacated army group, and Kleist will take control in northern France. So he is there. So with that, we have dealt with command, and we've gotten assigned commanders to all of our various army groups. Okay. So then we are going to move on to the Axis offensive phase. All right, took a small break to do a little online playing with my brother, but we're back to finish this turn up with the Axis offensive, but I have no pawns because I did not do a military directive this turn, so we are going to skip that. So now we are doing the Western offensive, And we're going to start by seeing if the allies land in the spring. Oops, don't need the whole deck. Landing 1943 summer fall. So they are not going to land this turn. So that gives me one more turn, hopefully to shore up Italy. Usually landings happen in the summer or the fall. So that was a calculated risk, or at least that's the way it has seemed to me. But the Allies will place a pawn here. And they're going to attack here. And so they are on attack in 1943. So they get 2 planes and 3. So I think they're going to end up rolling 5 dice. Start 1. There is no effect. Oh, okay, so there's no roll 1 as recovery for yo. So I'm rolling 5 dice. So the allies are going to end up rolling 5 dice. I am rolling. Well, actually, I might be rolling a. Am I in rough terrain? I'm in rough terrain, so I'm rolling 1 white die. Actually, maybe even 2 white die. Maybe even a gray die. Kesselring has an effect here, I think. Let's see. Where is Kesselring? Oh, that didn't pull him forward. Dang it. Go. There we go. Roll 1 additional gray die instead of 1 white die for rough terrain. So essentially, I'm rolling that. So, bunch of hits, strategy card, and that. So first we got a, not strategy card, sorry, a combat card. Operation Chastise. Roll 1 Western die. If the result is an air hit, move 1 replacement marker 1 box to the left in the production table. So we'll roll this die, which we don't need anymore for counting. So I have to move one of these 1 box to the left. So we're going to move Strategic Warfare 1 box to the left, and that is simply, it stays in the discard pile. So 4 hits. Allied hits graded. The activated AG applies reduction or 1 retreat for every hit in the distance. If 1 retreat and 2 reductions are applied, or 2 reductions are applied, the activated hit of AG and landing general are questioned. So I have to essentially apply 2 retreats because I have no reductions which I can make. So what that means is that they are going to advance twice. That is now going to be under Western control. And Kesselring is questioned, which seems remarkably unfair considering the situation. Although I guess maybe they're questioning why he didn't move some troops forward to defend. I don't know for certain, but he is questioned. Luckily, he's a pretty durable, only on a 6, I think, right? Only on a 6, yep. So that's the Western offensive. So now we go on to the Soviet offensive. And for that, we are placing pawns in there, in there, in there, and in here. And I apologize again for blowing Fall Blau 2 by having 4 armies in there. But it is what it is. Okay, I'm learning as I go. So we're going to start up here. So we'll draw a 1943 attack. So there's a white flag and 4 dice. So let's start. Get all these allied dice out of the way. We've got 4 of these. The white flag, eliminate 1 satellite army from the combat area, but there is none. If there are no satellite armies, add 1 hit to the Soviet combat roll. So we'll put that like that to try to remember that. Now I am rolling 2 gray and a white, but let's take a look. We've got von Kugler. Let's look at what my generals might do for me here. Von Kleist, von Weichs, von Kluge, von Kugler. Cancel the special effect in the combat card. Okay, so I am not actually, I don't actually need that 1 hit. So that's good. Actually, let me just confirm that real quick. That is when defending in rough terrain, And we are defending in rough terrain. Now I'm gonna go find a general to lead this defense. All right. So one thing, because I actually had to form these two new AGs, army groups, I am now can choose from my generals with 4 seniority, and I have done that by choosing Walter Weiss. So I can re-roll 1 die in the combat roll. The controlling player may choose the original result or the new result. So I am rolling 2 gray and 2 white. The 2 gray and the 1 white come from the units, and then I get 1 extra white die because I'm defending in rough terrain. So this is what we're rolling. So my very, 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 very bad. Holy cow. Well, I am going to re-roll this die. Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button. I hit the E button, so that doesn't count. All right, well, I did get the artillery. So I got to do 2 combat events, and then we'll come back and deal with all of that. So let's do the 2 combat events first. 28th Mountain Army. USSR is at war. Combat is not with a Western faction. Cancel 1 hit from the Allied combat rolls in roll in this combat. Okay, so I'm canceling 1 hit, but I'm going to roll this die. And it's not a hit. So if it's not a hit, if it's basically they go back here. All right, that is 1 combat card. Sorry, I got to do a 2nd combat card. Peenemünde bombed. If there are no project markers in the project track, there are 2 project markers in the project track. Roll 2 Western die. If at least 1 air result is rolled, remove the most advanced project marker box 1 to the left in the project box. All right, so I rolled 2 dice. And I did get a hit. So we are going to move this project back 1. Now, luckily, this is the project that I probably shouldn't have started anyway, because it only really matters in the multiplayer game, but it moves back 1. And then what do I do with that card? I just leave it in the discard pile. Okay. So now I've dealt with the 2 combat dice. Now I deal with this air hit. And that air hit is going to reduce that to 3. And now I am in a space where I've got this, but I believe that this artillery accesses the defender and the assault guns project has been completed, so I get 2 hits. So I actually have 3 hits and somehow manage to win this. No retreat or reduction. No retreat or reduction. That was very fortunate. I consider that very fortunate. Well, now this, and this is ripe for collapse with all these satellite armies. I really probably should start thinking about shoring that up at some point. I could use that winter symbol here. No, I have to apply 1 reduction, but that is all. Now let's look at this general real quick, von Klug, just to make sure that he doesn't cancel that. He cancels the special effect in the combat card. So basically that ends up being no effect. I need to try to remember to shore that up next turn. Now we are dealing with the Don Bolga region. 1943 reduction and a hit. Actually, okay, hang on. Reduction, sorry, let me go back to this. Reduction and 4 dice. So that's kind of similar to last time. I'm just realizing I did something wrong. This reduction should not have been gotten rid of because he gets rid of this effect, not this effect. I think that's correct. Yeah, yep. So the previous, not Kesselring, who was it? Oh, it was this guy, I think. When I was up there, Von Kukler, he cancels the reduction special effect, and that wasn't what I got. So actually, I need to reduce that army because of that effect. I would have had 1 less combat event as a result of that, which means that this would be here and Pinamundi Bombed would be back in here, and I'll just shuffle it because I don't want to know that it's coming up next. He has been used. Where are my activated generals? So my activated generals are there. Okay. Sorry, I made that mistake up there. That was my mistake. But, okay. So now we are here. We've got a reduction and 4, but we did check this, and he cancels the reduction. Bush canceled. I'm so sorry. Bush does he cancel the reduction? If I roll a gray die, if I get a hit, I cancel that special effect. I did get a hit, so I cancel that. So they are rolling 4 dice. I am rolling 2 gray and 2 white, and this is an attack into a river, so I do not get any extra dice. But now I need to pick a leading general. Let me pause and go figure out who. Okay, we are going to pull Werner Kempf, and I'm going to grab him here so I can remember that I've got him. Werner Kempf, okay. And his special ability is if there are 2 reduced armies in the combat area, roll 1 gray die instead of 1 white die. So I've got 2 reduced armies. So in fact, I'm going to be rolling 1 gray die for one of them. So this is what we're facing here. All right. So we've got to deal with that combat event. Soviet counterattack. The USSR's choose randomly one area in the Eastern Front with a disputed alignment marker or controlled by the Axis and adjacent to apply 1 retreat in that area and flip all heads of army group to their question side. Unrest +1. Then I return that to here. Oh dear. I think I'm going to apply that retreat right here. Apply 1 retreat in that area and flip all heads of army group to their question side. So Bush gets flipped to his question side. Only the heads of the army group, okay? So I'm not flipping the leading general to his unrest +1, and then that gets moved to there. So that can't happen twice per turn. Unrest goes up by 1. I don't really know what the unrest track does, frankly. I haven't yet figured that out. I haven't really seen it affect anything, and it's possible maybe it doesn't do anything in the solo game. All right, so now, having dealt with that combat card, I'm dealing with the combat, and we've got 3 hits to 3 hits. Since we're in a river, the tanks don't do anything other than count as a hit. So allied hits equal 1 reduction or 1 retreat. If the retreat is applied, he's questioned. I don't want to retreat again, so I'm going to take the reduction. Because I don't want to, having had to retreat once already, I don't want to have to retreat again. And then finally, we are here. Boy, the Soviets attack more in 1943, don't they? All right, that's what I was looking for. So that's a step loss if it's winter, but it's not winter, so no step loss. And that is all of the Soviet combat pawns. So I didn't have a military directive. I don't have to do a supply check anymore because this is no longer a Axis port, so I don't need to worry about supply here. The Allies are able to they're able to get supply here, right? They can trace supply, I'm pretty sure, back through here. I can check that, actually. I should check that. Now, I'm just thinking about this, and I don't think I need to check because the isolated only affects me. So checking if it's isolated doesn't matter unless I'm somehow going to get down there, which is not going to happen. So we can just leave that. I think it doesn't matter. This might be able to remove it. I don't know, but it just isn't going to come into play anymore. So I'm just going to leave it. And there is no victory check, or well, there is a victory check, but everything's fine. So we are going to move now to the summer of 1943, where we have one administrative and 2 operations, but we'll pick that up the next time. So hopefully you're enjoying this playthrough of The Other Side of the Hill solo. If you are, be great if you could leave a like. Definitely comment if you're seeing stuff that I'm doing wrong, or with any comments really that you want to sort of make. I'm open to all kinds of suggestions. And if you're enjoying the channel and the series, it'd be great if you could hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when we produce new content. But we will see you next time on Agility Snips Gaming Table.